right, let's get rid of that music and let's get started. What's good, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hopefully everyone is having an amazing morning, great time. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend as well. My fault for being late. My alarm clock for some reason never ever wants to work, but hopefully everybody's having a great time. Let me go ahead and get started for you guys. I know we were supposed to be starting about maybe an hour before this, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I didn't miss a call. Also wanted to make sure that I am. What is my YouTube doing? There we go. Oh, did I just close my YouTube in the wrong way? Okay, no, we should be good. All right, so again, everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hopefully everybody's having a great morning and a great weekend as well. If you guys can, actually, let me just double check, because if I can hear myself on my phone, you guys can hear me in general. All right, I can hear myself on my phone, so you guys are good. All right, I know you guys can hear me. I know we're good to go. If you guys can, do me one favor before we begin, though. It is very important, again, as I continue to do these. I'm going to be doing these every single day. I'm going to make sure that I'm giving as much value as I possibly can. I'm going to make sure that I educate and really make sure that you guys are really understanding what is needed to become a profitable and consistent trader. If you could do me one favor, just like this video. If you know somebody who wants to learn, who has questions about trading, who needs some type of value, also share this with somebody, or just share this in general, so that way everybody can get some type of knowledge and education as we continue to grow this channel. It's very important that I let everybody know that this is all about just complete understanding of trading, consistency, or transparency rather, and really helping you guys actually understand how to trade. I do everything privately with my students as far as, the profits, but at least the education side I can give you guys the value for. So it's really important that you guys get that, and whoever else needs it, they get that as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I don't want to keep you guys waiting too long. I know we're already a little bit too late, but I'll make sure that I stay on for as long as I can, or as long as you guys need me, so that way I can answer any and all questions that you guys have. And I'm just drawing that out real quick. Yeah, I'll stay on, answer any and all questions that you guys have. So yeah, let's get started. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. I am taking a look at the chat, the live chat for you guys. And if there's any specific markets as well, I want to make sure that I'm speaking on relevance, things that are going to actually help you become profitable. And I want everybody to leave here with some type of knowledge. I don't want anybody leaving a session confused. I want everybody having at least one question answered, so that way they get one step closer or a few steps closer to their initial goal of being able to profitably trade the Forex market. So for some reason, I changed some things on my computer, so I don't have my original count for TradingView here, so I'll have to manually type in everything. That's perfectly fine. We'll still be able to identify some markets and really do the same thing we always do. So I am looking at the chat. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. If not, I'll just go ahead and take a look at some charts and really mark up some things, educate. But yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm staying relevant to what you guys personally need. So let me go ahead. I don't see anything so far, so let me go to gold. I usually come here to gold. Let me make sure that the colors are good for you guys. I think if anything, it should be like this. It might look better for you guys. Even if you're on the phone, you'll be able to see things a little better like this. So I'm gonna start here with gold. I'll wait for any questions and comments that you guys may have, or any specific things that you guys may need. But again, it is very important. This is not just me educating. This is me and you, whoever it is that's watching. I want you to ask questions. I want you to let me know what you personally need. I don't think anybody does that. A lot of people are just like, I'm gonna just do this and do that and just sit around and not speak on anything. I see a lot of these Facebook Lives and they don't really do much, you know what I mean? So I wanna make sure that I'm doing the most for you guys. So again, if you have anything, feel free to always let me know. But I'll start here with gold. The reason why I'm starting with gold is because I like to get an idea of what the overall market is going to be doing. Yes, I can check the DXY. The DXY being the dollar index, which is going to just control the US dollar currency, rather, and the value of it. Actually, it does look better like this. All right. I'm focused on you guys, like people on the phones. I do take a look at, the sessions after. I want to make sure that the quality is good, that you guys can see everything perfectly. This might actually be better. But yes, we can check the DXY for the dollar strength or weakness, but I like to look at gold because it does have correlation, not just with the US dollar, but a lot of other markets like to correlate with this market as well. So I personally like to look at this first before I do anything, just so that way I get a strong understanding of what the market is going to be doing. And I'm not going to start here on the 1 hour time frame. I'm going to start here on the daily time frame. Now, if anybody's wondering, like, why is he on the daily time frame? That's such a large time frame. Why would he do that? It's always important that we start with the higher time frame. Let me just see. Just started trading. Just started my trading day. Mark what you 10 daily. I watch indices. I don't watch indices. That's the last thing I care about. I have no idea why that's such a pop. I mean, I do have an idea why it's popular, but I personally don't. I look at every Forex pair. Indices sometimes I do have a. I did hire a trader who specifically trades indices for us. But as far as, I personally don't. I like gold. And that gold, Bitcoin, GBP, JPY, those are my babies right there. But I'll start with gold only because I want to see what the overall market is doing. And I think it's really important that we understand that, because what I see a lot of traders are doing is, and especially when I go on these Facebook Lives, is just like everybody's stuck on that 15-minute time frame on gold. And I get it. I understand that there are moves to be made on that time frame, but you can't understand the overall move if you are not, you're not going to be able to place a trade if you don't understand the overall market. I see a lot of people that, oh, it's creating a lower high. And I'm not saying this personally. I'm just using this as an example. People are, it's creating a lower high on the 15-minute time frame. It's now time for sells. And they never check the higher time frame to see, is that really a sell? But maybe, because now that I'm on the higher time frame, I can see it. Works as a funded trader. I also trade gold in a couple pairs. I got 4 funded accounts. I have a personal account with over 6 figures in it as well. I just personally don't like it because, I don't know. I grew up trading just Forex pairs. And the popularity of like VIX 75 and all that, it just came out of nowhere. But here with gold, like I can see, again, being on the daily time frame, I'm always trying to identify price. Like I'm a price action trader, not a, I don't have any indicators on here. I don't have MACD or stochastics or anything. I want to understand the pure price action of this market. I want to make sure that if I'm looking for an entry, excuse me, I want to make sure that my entries are at a very crucial area within the market. Because if not, then you're probably not going to have an accurate entry whatsoever. So if I do this, if I look left to get right, I'm looking at this as a level of structure. And I forgot to get my Red Bull. So we can see that this is a level of structure. Now, it's not broken yet. We still have about 8.5 hours for this daily candlestick to close here. And I'll just be more specific and show you exactly the candle that I'm speaking of. So we're just going to do that. I'm speaking on that candle, right? So that current candle has not closed as of yet. So with that candle not closing here at the level of structure that it's currently at, we'll just put resistance. Oh, I can't spell this morning. So we're at a level of current resistance. So with that current level of resistance, I want to identify any potential exhaustion, right? This candle that's currently marked here, I want to see a level of exhaustion. I want to see that candle either give me a wick to the upside, close as a bearish variant. I want to make sure that that is showing me some form of bearish movement. Don't have that as of yet. But that's exactly why I always preach to my students, patience. Patience within the market is going to save you a lot of time, save you a lot of money, save you a lot of stress. So when we scale, and I'm going to delete this resistance here in a second. I'll just move the word resistance over here. The reason why I'm going to delete it is because when we scale down to smaller time frames, I don't want my candlesticks on those time frames to just be blue, right? I want to be able to see everything. So I'm going to delete everything really fast. We know that we're at a level of resistance, so I'll just put a line right here because we know right now we're at a structure point. So we see that this market right now has been creating higher highs and higher lows. I'm on the 4-hour time frame now. So what we can do is, now that I see this, and none of my tools want to work. Where are my tools? There we go. I'm looking for my channel, which I never use. I just want to use it for you guys real quick. I don't see it, or I'm blind. I'm blind. I'll do the fib channel. I never use a fib channel. I'm just doing this. Oh, never mind. I'll do it manually. This is why I wanted to log into my personal TradingView account, but for some reason, all that info got deleted. I'm just trying to do this. Okay. So I was going to see if we can actually match it so it could be a channel. So all these points here can also connect, but that's not the case. What we are looking at is right here. We have a bullish breakout pattern. And if we mark it up a little bit further, not only did it break out of the pattern, it came back to retest the structure that was also broken out of as well. So we'll mark that right there. So we can see that we'll just draw this. Oh, actually, wrong tool. We'll make it a little bit more cleaner for you guys. Call out, boop. So we have a breakout. And I know a lot of people like, but it broke out and it didn't respect that trend line on the outside. Sometimes that's not always the case, right? If we do have a breakout of a structure or a trend line, it doesn't necessarily mean that that trend line is going to always be respected. What's important is that we understand that the price is respected, right? If we break out of, and I'll just draw it out for you guys so that way everybody understands exactly what I mean. Where are my tools? There we go. So let's say you have a level of structure, right? Like we currently have, and you have a trend line that's been broken out of. I'll try to draw this as perfect as I possibly can. So let's say you have this trend line, or in this case, a channel trend line, because it's just not a regular trend line. Let's say it does break out and it doesn't respect that trend line here. That's okay, because the breakout of the trend line itself is what's dictating the momentum and direction of what the market is currently doing. What's important is, at least if you don't get an entry here, you get an entry at the level of structure, the price that was broken out of. Why? Because the market doesn't necessarily see that trend line, but it definitely sees that price level that was broken out. That trend line is like an extra confirmation or extra confluence that we have to have if it's there, if it's presented, because sometimes we're not always going to have a trend line. But if it is there and you see it being broken, you definitely want to take note of that. But we can see that it's not only just broken, the structure that was broken was retested. So if we actually go ahead and mark this up a little bit further, if I go from swing low to swing high, oh, I definitely got to log into my other account because this is all different. Hold up. Left, right, there we go. So you can see here, from swing low to swing high here, we came right back down almost into that 61.8. Now, if everybody's like, but it didn't touch a 61.8, would you have taken that entry? Absolutely, because I'm never just basing my my trades off of a fib ratio or a specific fib ratio. What I would do, though, is identify the zone that we're in and make sure that the fib ratio is also matched. And the ratio that's there is that 50% ratio. We can see that the candles respected the 50% Fibonacci ratio, and it could not close below it. It did wick below. That's perfectly fine. But at least here on the 4-hour time frame, I'm sure on the 1 hour and other smaller time frames, there'll be minor breaks. That's okay. But what we can see here on this time frame is a respect on that level. And the reason why I'm speaking on this is because it's going to give us a strong identification of what's going to happen next. We have to understand what previously happened to understand the current analysis of what the market's going to give us next, right? So we have that breakout of structure. We don't need this fib anymore. We definitely don't need this trend line anymore, because what we're going to be doing is identifying the next potential move. Now, I'll leave this bottom trend line here because that could definitely be a factor in the future. Meaning, if it starts to sell and hits the structure again and hits that trend line, that could be a buy, right? So if I'm looking at this, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm actually going to go ahead and mark this up a little bit more precise to our current market status. And we'll just put it like that. I will add a Fibonacci retracement ratio from this low to this high. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to start to correct right now. That's not always the case. But what I'm doing is I'm at least marking up the chart in a matter where if it does start to correct, if it starts to retrace, I'm now already predicting where my initial entry will be. So as you see here, we are in a bullish market. And we currently are, and I'll write this out in case anybody just joined and doesn't know what that structure is. This is daily and even weekly at that point too, resistance. So the reason why that's important is because, excuse me, I'm sorry guys. The reason why this daily or weekly resistance is important is because if this does want to do anything, it'll start to really correct from this point. Can we sell from here? No. I personally wouldn't, because there's no indications of that just yet. Because a lot of people always ask me, why wouldn't you sell into that buy zone? Because we don't know if this is actually going to sell. I have this marked up. I have this Fibonacci retracement ratio lined up, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to sell from there. I just have it there so that way if it does, we're good. If not, I'll just simply adjust my fib to the height, to the extension of where it goes. But for right now, I do like the way that gold looks exactly like this. If we do come down to this area, this is going to be considered our strong buy zone. So let's write that out. strong buy zone. Now, if broken, obviously we're not going to buy this because that completely negates everything that we're trying to do, right? If we have a break of the structure or a break of this trend line, I'm not going to really be looking much for those buys anymore. But at least we have gold marked up for the meantime, so that way we can identify what other pairs are going to be doing, such as the US dollar, some yen pairs, because a lot of yen pairs do correlate. I wouldn't say they correlate too much, but they do have some form of movement with gold as well. So understanding the true market and the true sense of what gold is going to be doing, we'll be able to understand everything else as well. So, all right, no questions, no comments. All right, so if you guys do have any questions, if there's another market, because I'm done with this. There's really not much more to mark up here on gold. There's no entry on it, so I don't really need to scale down on a smaller time frame and start just sitting here for 3 hours, wasting your time and talking about nothing. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that I'm speaking on relevance and helping you guys out with things that you personally need. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. I will make sure that I answer any and all questions that you guys may have and really help you guys understand what is needed to be consistently profitable in the Forex market. So this is my markup here on gold. Hopefully we do have some type of idea here. Again, this is our daily resistance. We are looking to buy within this zone. If again, this level is broken, we are not going to go ahead and buy anything. We're going to just allow this market to continue to sell because we are at, again, this daily and weekly level of resistance. So I will be looking to buy from this point. So I'll actually just draw it out here, and I will make sure that I send these out in the Discord as well. You guys have been hounding me for that, so I'll make sure that I do that. So we're just going to look at something like this and identify our buys from there. So questions, comments, any other markets you guys specifically want to take a look at, feel free to let me know. Again, it's really important that I identify or make sure that I'm staying relevant to whatever you guys may need. If you don't know how to use a tool, if you don't know even what I'm saying, if you don't know what resistance is, that's okay. Ask. I really want to make sure that I'm leaving you or helping you guys and leaving you guys with as much knowledge as possible. That's my biggest thing. So nothing so far. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Euro USD. So this is one thing too. I want you guys to understand this, and I'm always going to tell. I told my students this for a bit too. Right now, there's not anybody that you're going to go and find that's going to be doing this for you, teaching you just the way that I am. So please take this opportunity, use it wisely, ask questions, and learn. It's important because I guarantee you, nobody's doing this. Go into YouTube right now and identify anybody who's actually teaching how to trade this way. I'm literally giving you guys the foundation, the blueprint, and I want to make sure that everybody's learning. So what I'm doing right now on Euro USD is seeing what we're looking at or what could potentially happen. And what I am seeing right now is, even though we are at this level of daily structure, I'm gonna make this zone a little bit bigger. So I'm basing my zone not off a candle or order block. So I'm looking at price. I'm looking at the highs and the lows of where price has been, because it can and will go there again, and it can respect that level before it does anything. So I'm just trying to make this as perfect as possible. So we kind of are within this level of structure. Let's go put this as strong structure, because what we can get is a potential sell from here. It doesn't necessarily mean we will, because right now what I'm looking at is this current candle. Where is my, oh, it's right here. There we go. So I'm looking at this current daily candle, which is an extremely bullish candle at that, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that the market is going to start buying and go crazy to the upside, but it can necessarily mean that this level of structure will be broken, or I wouldn't say will, but has the ability to be broken because of such a strong bullish engulfing candle, especially to start the day off, right? So, oh, my bad, these little pop-ups on the bottom get me. So us being at this level of daily structure, the first thing I want to identify is this daily candle and the close of it. I want to make sure that this candle is closing in a manner that's going to help me understand whether this level of structure is going to be broken or respected. So how do we get that? Very simple. Candlestick patterns. If you're not familiar with candlestick patterns, I'm just going to write this out if you're new. Candlestick patterns of life, or candlesticks in general, right? Identifying what they do at these structure points is important. A lot of people forget that, right? When we get to these levels of structure, it's called price action for a reason. You identify the most relevant level of price, You identify the actions that proceed within them, because that's important. You're not just saying, oh, we're at a level of structure, time to sell. No, you want to make sure that everything you're doing is, I would say you're stacking the probabilities in your favor. So if I'm at a level of structure, I want to make sure, okay, that's one thing. That's one on my checklist, right? I'm at a level of structure. Got it. What else? Am I seeing any bearish variance? Am I seeing any candlestick pattern showing me exhaustion from this level? Currently, I do not, right? We can see that this bullish engulfing candle is not very exhausted. It doesn't seem as if sellers want to come into the market whatsoever. It seems as if they want to continue to be buying. So when we scale down to a smaller time frame, we can kind of see a little bit more. Oh, I thought this was a double bottom, but it is not. I thought we were going to get a double bottom from here, but that is clearly not a double bottom. And if anybody's confused on what that is, this is what a double bottom is, and this is how it's supposed to be. So when we get to a level of structure, or just in general, you get a market that does this. It comes back to the previous price, almost exact. It cannot break below that. If it does, it's invalid. But if we get this, and then a break to that upside, breaking above that level of structure being here, then you have the idea for a potential sell. Or sell for a buy. I'm over here looking at the structure, so I'm looking for the sell here. So if we do have the break above that middle piece, you can look for the buys there. But in this case, there is no double bottom because that's extended lower, right? It broke below that previous price. You can see that right there. So we can't consider this a double bottom the way that I thought it was at first, which is cool because would it be a buy? Not necessarily. I mean, a lot of people would probably still consider this a double bottom, but by doctrine, it cannot be, or by actual definition, it cannot be considered a double bottom because it actually did break the previous low. If you consider that a double bottom, that's perfectly fine. But by doctrine, that's not how it's supposed to be. So mark this right back up. So what I do want to see in being on the 4-hour time frame is the same thing. I want to start identifying my candlestick patterns at these levels of structure. Right now, we don't have anything on Euro USD. A lot of people probably like, really? Nothing? It's marked up fully, at least for me. I don't like to have anything too much on my chart. I don't like having my chart look like, somebody just like threw confetti on it. I want to identify what's real. Right now, I understand that Euro USD is very much in a bullish market, but I also understand that we are at a daily level of structure. This can be used as a level of resistance. With that, we like to sell at a level of resistance. You want to sell high, buy low. Right now, if this level, and I'll just write this out. If this is respected, we sell. What is all this on the side? I probably pressed the wrong button. My bad. I'm still trying to get used to this keyboard. This keyboard is insane. All right. So if this is respected, we sell. If it is broken, we look for continued buys. I want everybody to focus on that word continued buys. A lot of us, and don't get me wrong, there are times where there will be reversals, right? But in retrospect, you're not trying to go against the market. That's the last thing you want to do. You always want to make sure that you're continuing with the market direction if given. Right now, this market is bullish. We want to make sure that we continue bullish for the most part. But if we don't see that in this level, we do have the potential area for sell. So I'll even write this out. Current market is in a range or ranging market. Very simple. A lot of, I think, what you guys are looking at with trading is so difficult, and it's not. It's really, really simple. We just got to use a little bit of common sense. So current market is in a range. Why is that important? In case anybody's wondering. Reason being is if you are in a range, the market could do this. It'll buy from the low. It'll sell from the high. Buy from the low. Sell from the high. Do you get that pattern? We'll be able to sell from resistance and buy from support up until either end is broken. When either end is broken, then we'll have a determining factor of where that market truly wants to go. If it breaks to the upside, we know the momentum is still bullish. If it does break to the downside, we know that we're going to be looking at a potential reversal coming into play. So with Euro USD, I want to see this range broken, or at least these highs respected. Because if these highs are respected, we will be able to go ahead and look for sells. Now, this is not a trade. I repeat, this is not a trade, but this is what would my trade would look like in a sense if I did go ahead and place it. Please do not. I had somebody hit me up like, yo, you placed a trade. I did not place a trade. I'm showing you guys examples. If I did, my stop loss would be just above. I'd make about 50 pips. My bare minimum, because I want to make sure that my stop loss is right above the previous highs over here, right? Because I want to give my trade a little bit of room to breathe. So if we do start to see some respect from this level, we'll go ahead and start looking for sells, and we'll come back to Euro USD as we're on this call. So that way, if there is some form of rejection from here, we'll go ahead and look for our trade from there. I also trade gold in a couple pairs. Hi. I don't know how to say that. Ifrin? What's good, man? What's good, man? But yeah, any questions? You guys are quiet today. I'm telling you, you guys got to start asking some questions and let me know what you guys need, because I guarantee once you go and try to find somebody else doing this on Facebook, YouTube, you're not going to. It's very difficult, at least live, and answering questions. So what markets do you guys want to take a look at? What other questions or any questions that you guys may have? Again, if you're new, if you have no idea what trading is, let me know. I'll try to break it down as simplistic and basic as I possibly can, but I'm just going to draw this out for us real quick. But yeah, this is currently my idea for Euro USD. We broke it down from a higher time frame. I do not need to have 1,000,001 things in my chart for me to understand what's going on. I don't need to understand order blocks or smart money concepts. This is literally what the market does. It's a pattern, right? It repeats itself over and over and over again. All these other strategies came about after they understood what price action is. This is what every strategy revolves around. So if and let me get rid of this before somebody comes on and thinks we're selling Euro USD. But that is my idea with that. So listening and taking notes, perfect. GJ, AUDJPY. All right, let me take a look at GJ. So what is your question? So as you let me know with GJ or whatever market you want to look at, let me know what question you have with it. Do you want it marked up? Do you have an idea? You can even send your markup here if you would like. I'll go ahead and take a look at it here on the call and kind of critique it, let you know if you're in the right place. But I mean, I kind of already see a strong idea with GJ as is. You know what I mean? I mean, that looks very bullish. Does anybody see what I see? I'm good. I'm new. Tell about GU. I'll go ahead and talk. Me talking about GU is going to be the same, or GJ is probably going to give you the same idea with GU, because the pound pair, it's a correlated pair. They have something very much in common, which is the British pound. But does anybody see what I see? It's a very easy pattern. We go over on the majority of all our sessions here. Let me go ahead and go to the daily. So that way it gives you guys a little bit more of an idea of why I'm seeing it that way. So I'm on the daily time frame. Just a very simple idea, right? Mark up AJ. Okay, I will. I got you. So what I can see is, again, I'm looking at significant price. I'm looking at what the market is leaving behind. If I can go ahead on the daily or weekly, we'll go into the weekly really fast, and look left to get right. What can I see? Structure. Nothing difficult. I sent a Discord symmetrical triangle broken, so we very bullish. Okay, got you. For some reason, let me go. Let me see. Oh, you're already okay. Well, yeah, that's fine. You have that symmetrical triangle. I'll go ahead and when I scale down to a smaller time frame, I'll take a look at that. I got you. But what I can see is, again, that level of structure. So let's go ahead and do this. So you see, you notice how I don't say support, resistance, smart money concept, order block, supply, demand. It's literally all the same. It's just worded differently. There's nothing different whatsoever. So smart money concept, SMC, right? You can see that this level of strong structure price is our support. We can see that this market has previously used it as resistance. I know my structure is not perfectly showing the resistance. I just don't want my zone that big. But you can see right now that that used to be a level of strong resistance until it was broken out of. So we're going to do this. Breakout equals buys. So if I can see that that market broke out of that level structure and came back and retested, so we're going to do this. Retest confirms level of structure. Oh, Didn't spell it right. Retest confirms level of structure and the idea that buys will probably be more relevant within this area. Now, if you're looking and be like, but Jay, it broke below. It definitely had an idea to try to break below, but at least on this time frame, it wicked below, but could not close below that level of structure. That's important. Even though it made a low, or not made a low, it could not make a low. It couldn't close below that resist or this current support zone. That's telling you how strong that price is, right? Because if it didn't want to respect it, it would have just closed right below and we would continue to see sells. But what we're currently looking at is the same thing over here. I'm going to scale back down to the daily, and I want you guys to see something. I want you guys to see, where is my up arrow? There we go. That, right? What we're looking at is a level of structure being respected at the current market standpoint. It's always important. We have to understand again what previously happened in order to understand what is currently happening. So for me, if I scale down to the daily, that level of structure is important. This candlestick, I'm not going to give it to you guys. I want you guys to go ahead and do this real quick, actually. Because the knowledge you retain the most is the knowledge that you give yourself. So do this. Candlestick cheat sheet. And I'm just going to say, actually, no, I'll put it in the front. Google candlestick cheat sheet, and then go to images. And you'll be able to find a bunch of resources. It doesn't matter which one. If you ask me, hey, which one? It doesn't matter. They're all important. If it has knowledge, it's important. So it's important that you guys go ahead and understand the candlestick patterns. And I want you guys to go ahead and give yourself that knowledge, right? That candlestick at that level of structure is important just as much as this one next to it. Actually, all three. Actually, this has no wick to the upside or downside. So that can still be considered a morning star candlestick pattern. I'll give you guys that. I'll give you guys a little hint of what this is. Morningstar candlestick reversal pattern, right? Now, I'm also paying attention to this I'm paying attention to all the candles at this level of structure, but it did form a bigger piece, if you will. So not only do we have a bullish and bullish variant here at a level of structure showing us that sellers are probably no longer welcome and buyers are probably taking over, I need to now scale down to a smaller time frame to see if there's any other confirmation. So if you've been on my sessions before, you know I always talk about time frame confluence, where one time frame has to match the other, and that time frame has to match another time frame as well. All of them have to tell us the same thing. They have to let us know, am I buying? Am I selling? Right now, at this level of structure being on a daily level and even the weekly, we can see that there's bullish variance in the candlestick patterns. If we go down to smaller time frames, we can start to see something forming. What do you see? That's important, right? Let me see what we have in the comments. That's so true what you said about all these strategies. Price analysis and market structure was here first. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's why when people try to hit me up and say, I got this new strategy, I'm like, okay, cool. It's literally the same thing, just wrapped up in a new bow. And maybe with a few different indicators and somebody speaking on it. If you keep trading simple, and I'm not saying this would be disrespectful to anybody. It's really important that you guys understand that trading, it can be difficult. Don't get me wrong. Trading is very hard in a sense of the psychology behind it. But actually trading it, marking it up, and understanding it, it's actually really easy. Because why would somebody tell you to watch patterns and the market makes these shapes and different moves? It's because it does it all the time. And if you understand where those moves are made, price, and the actions that are being shown, price, action, you'll be able to profitably trade. So again, what can you see? What pattern here is very relevant, very important. If you guys can't see it, you guys might want to take some time and understand your market patterns. It's something that's very important to myself as far as trading is concerned, because it's one of the most relevant, or at least in my opinion, it's one of the most relevant patterns in the entire market. So if you guys can't see it, I'm just giving you guys a little bit of time. I'm not using any indicators. You guys can see very much well that this is looking like a inverted head and shoulders pattern. Very simple. If you guys don't think that pattern is important, let's go ahead and prove you wrong. There is a whole tool for it, head and shoulders. This is extremely important. If we go here, left shoulder, head. I hate this. Actually, I'll just draw it out like this because for some reason that tool never works the way I need it to. left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Now, the reason why that's important is if you're like, but is that really a head? Yes, it definitely is. What's important too is we identify the left shoulder structure, right? We have now respected, or not now, we already have, we've respected this current level of support rather. Why is that important? Because with every, somebody already said it, hey, what's up, Adams? I see you answering everything. So it's important that we understand a head and shoulders pattern and the functions of it. So anytime you have a head and shoulders pattern and you have that level of structure, kind of like what we have right there, exactly what we have right there. This is the true level of structure here, not down here. The head of a pattern, of a head and shoulders pattern rather, is a false break. Fake out. That's trying, because what most people are going to do is go ahead and I mean, even myself at points, break, retest, and I'm going to look for my entry and sell there. But the head of a pattern is a false break. That's like the market. This is basically you leaving your house. You're on your way to work. And you're like, oh shit. Did I turn the oven off? Oh, damn it. Hold on. Let me go back home real quick. And you got to go right back home. And you're like, okay, damn. I did leave the oven on. Let me go ahead and correct that. And you just go mosey your way back to where I know it's a complete opposite direction. I'm just trying to give you guys an analogy so that way you guys can remember this. But that is a false break. Anytime I'm looking at a head and shoulders pattern, I'm not looking at the lows down here. I'm actually looking at the left shoulder price. Why? Because that's where your entry is for your trade. Very simple, right? We're not trying to overcomplicate anything. We want to make things extremely, extremely easy. So for me right now, well, not right now because that's obviously been respected, but I can see that this level of structure has been respected, the left shoulder price. So we're actually going to write that down. And I'm just writing everything down so that way everybody has a visual, everybody understands exactly what's going on. So we're going to say strong support. Strong support, i.e., or we'll just put in parentheses, entries. Because if I was at if I was on the markets at this time, looking at this, and I can see that this market is reaching the left shoulder price of this head and shoulders pattern, I would look for strong buys. Now, if you're wondering, like, but that's all right, Jay, that's gone. Why are you speaking about what's already happened? We can't answer that right now. You're right, we can't. But what we can do is understand that this market, again, overall is looking extremely bullish. Why is that important? Because now when I scale down to a smaller time frame and I mark it up, I don't have to be like, is this buying? Is this selling? Is that a reversal? No. We know overall, from the higher time frame down to the lower, this is most likely going to be bullish. So 50% of our work is done now because now we already know the direction of the market. It's buying. So we don't have to really do anything else. We don't have to mark this up and say, well, is it going to sell? Is it going to do this? I would put this here because obviously this is going to be a resistance point. I'm just going to put the point here. Obviously, there's an entire zone. I just already have a lot of zones and don't want my chart looking crazy. But what I can see, again, that being a level of structure. So we'll say if broken, buyers are definitely in the market, right? So we'll put that right over here. But when we scale down to a smaller time frame, I'm going to get rid of a few things. I'm going to get rid, actually, we'll keep the structure because it's going to go right there. You see a pattern? You see the common sense when it comes to trading. You're not basing your entries off of an indicator. You're not basing your entries off of a time frame. You're basing your entries and your trades off of your analysis. I can already, again, see on the higher time frame that the market is looking for buys. I can see that this market is giving us an inverted head and shoulders pattern. I can see that we already started to create higher lows and higher highs. If I go from here to here, these are higher lows. And right now, we haven't created a higher high because it hasn't broken above here yet. But in the essence of this market correction right now, it's creating higher highs, at least this high and this high here. We're starting to get the notation that buyers are coming into the market. When I scale down to a smaller time frame, maybe you guys can see that break and retest idea a little bit easier. I'll make this trend line cleaner too. Make sense? We can see that this market is broken above. So we're going to do this. Again, this is extremely important on why we have to use all time frames to confirm things. We know, again, higher time frame, looking for buys. When we scale down to a smaller time frame, we now know we're looking for those buys. I know I'm repeating myself, but I promise you, repetition is key. Now, the question I always get is, but why do you always check the higher time frame? I want 30 trades a day. You know that you can get 30 trades a day if you understand the true direction of the market. You don't have to be on a smaller time frame to get those type of ideas. But again, understanding knowing how to actually trade, not just being on the 15 and 5 minute. You know what I mean? I'm saying that because I always get that question. It's always the biggest thing is like, what I'm always on the 15. Where's my entries at? Your entries are based off of your analysis. So again, we can see right now we have a break and potential retest. Because we have, again, this market has broken above and is correcting down. That is important because this is now our buy entry. So we're going to put this real quick. Very simple, and I really don't have to do much on AJ because now we already know what's going to happen with AJ because what's happening with Gbpjpy. So buy kill zone. So if you're wondering on why I said we don't really have to do much on AJ is because these are correlating pairs. Gbpjpy, AUDJPY. Common sense. What's common about them? JPY. So if that's the case, if we see GJ increasing in value, there's probably a good chance that AJ is looking almost the same. So I'll put buy kill zone. We're actually going to put our Fibonacci retracement ratio, swing low, swing high. So that way we could now identify or give us more of a chance. We're stacking probabilities in our favor to identify a potential trade opportunity. So buy kill zone. We know right now that GJ is looking extremely bullish at this point. So that's exactly what we have for GJ. Nothing complicated, nothing hard. We always want to keep trading as simple as possible. Not a million and one indicators. You don't need any of that shit. I'll draw like that for this time frame. I think on the 4 hour, we'll have a different one, but I'll leave this trend line here for now because that is very much valid in my case. And if you're wondering why it's valid, we have a touch here. That's the base. We have our second touch, the secondary. We have our third touch is the trigger. The trigger being that, yes, that trend line is very much valid, and you can also enter your trades off of that level. Obviously, if it comes back down from these highs, let's say from there to here, we have a respect of the fib ratio or a fib ratio, the structure, and the trend line. We can then go ahead and look for our buys around this area here. So this is what my trade setup would look like if I did trade it. Obviously, we cannot buy it because it is not in our zone just yet. So let me go ahead and do this. Oh, wrong tool. Where is it? Here we go. Nope, that's not it. This is why I always want to make sure that I have my actual account like on this thing because it is so different. All right, there we go. So let's say it looks like this. I'll have my stop loss just again about 50 pips because it's right below these lows. And then my first take profit, I'll do this. TP1. Why is that my first take profit if you're wondering? Very obvious answer. That is a level or could be a level of resistance in the future. For some reason, as this market was increasing in value and starting to buy, it just stopped dead in its tracks and started to correct. So that could eventually be used as a level of resistance. So again, if it does come back down here, our first take profit is about 150 pips. If broken, then we already know that that market is just going to continue to soar, and we'll go ahead and look at our TP2. You like how we came back to that structure over here that was based off the daily, right? It's important that we understand everything. And TP2, I hate these little pop-ups that always happen. I'm sorry, guys. So TP2 would be 260 pips. So risk to reward definitely in our favor. Something that you always want to take a note of. You don't want to place a trade and it looks like this, right? You have more of a stop loss than a take profit. You always want to make sure that your take profit's exceeding by all measure. But this is what our trade setup would look like if in fact we go ahead and buy Gbpjpy. Very simple, nothing hard. How do I join your Discord? Check the description. The Discord's in the link for it is in the description. Adelina Jetmir, Gbpjpy, buy or sell now? I'll never answer a question like that, just to let you know. I'm not trying to be rude, but this is about education. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yes, buy now, sell. No, definitely not. You're in the wrong channel for that one. But I will educate you so that way you can understand whether it's a buy or sell. This is why I broke it down in a manner that you could see what it's going to be. You can't just go into a chart and be like, buy, sell now. No, that's never the case, right? You have to allow the market to set up. That's why a lot of people fuck up, because all you want is buy, sell now. Let me know. Like, no, you have to get a strong understanding of what the market is doing. So I gave you that strong understanding. It's not a buy or a sell right now. If you're looking at this and saying, well, Jay's going to buy at that zone, let me go ahead and sell it now. This is probably what's going to happen. You're going to sell it right now, and then it's going to start to buy. Right? How many times does that happen to somebody? You go ahead and you're like, okay, it's starting to sell. Let me go ahead and place it now, and it starts to buy. And then what you're going to do is like, oh, it's going against me. You're going to take your loss, and then it starts to sell. And then and then you go ahead and be like, you know what, I'm going to buy now. And it starts to sell. Now you're losing money both ends. Allow the market to develop. Let the market truly show you what it wants to do before you make a move. Would that be a head and shoulders pattern? No. You mean the inverted? The inverted, yes. That's what I'm saying. This is very much an inverted head and shoulders pattern. But as far as right now, this being a head and no, there's no development of a right shoulder, right? We have to at least have a break of this buy zone. It has to at least come back down to that low, break market structure. It has to break market structure in order for it to start to be considered a head and shoulders pattern. If it broke my buy zone, broke my trend line, came back down to these lows, then I would start to say, yes, that could be a potential head and shoulders pattern. But we don't have that right now, right? So no, definitely not. If you're talking about the inverted, the buy head and shoulders pattern, that's exactly what I was saying the entire time of the setup for GJ. But yes, inverted head and shoulders pattern, yes, for the buys. But a head and shoulders pattern for the sell, absolutely not. Because look, again, you have to make sure. Where's my little drawing tool? Ugh, I hate not having my account up. There it is. Where is it? I could have sworn I just saw it. No, never mind. In order for this, again, be a head and shoulders pattern, we have to have that market structure broken. This being the left shoulder, that could be the head. But right now, there's no development of a right shoulder. So over predicting is never a good thing either. You want to make sure that you're understanding, again, what the market is currently giving you. The current clues. Those current clues is what's important. Right now, no, not a head and shoulders pattern whatsoever. Volume is low. Is it really? Can you guys hear me? If you guys can, let me know. I'm trying to put up my volume right now for you guys. I'm over here talking loud too. I got the mic right here. You telling a Spanish dude from the Bronx that you can't hear us that's new to me because we loud. All right, so let me go ahead and take a look at AUDJPY, which is probably going to be the same thing, right? You always want to make sure that, again, common sense. We looked at GJ. Now that we understand what GJ is doing, it's probably going to give us the same idea of what other yen pairs are going to be doing as well. So AUD, oh my God, I can't even type today. JPY, same thing. I literally don't have to do anything else. I'm not going to repeat myself because it's going to be the same thing we did with GJ. Look at that. Nothing difficult. Probably the same. I'm going to the 4 hour. But no inverted head and shoulders pattern, but we did get a double bottom. Look at that. I'm on the 4 hour time frame. Even if we went on to the daily, we look left, we can see that we're at a daily level of structure. Basically the same shit on GJ. Again, I'm not going to go too crazy on this because we have an idea of what GJ is doing. We have a strong idea of what AJ is doing. Again, because the common sense idea of the yen pair, it doesn't seem as if the yen is that strong. Actually, let's go ahead and take a look at that currency strength. Bang. Look at that. Japanese yen extremely weak. Everything else is pretty strong, being the euro being the strongest. Let's see the Aussie. So the Aussie is also extremely strong against the Japanese yen. So you already know that if that is the case, you're looking for the for AUD/JPY buys. Nothing complicated, nothing difficult. Again, daily time frame. We can even see it on the 4 hour double bottom. And just like we stated before, when you have that double bottom, what are you most likely going to look for when you have that pattern? The break above this middle piece. Now, if you're like, but it didn't come back in respect, that's okay. It broke above. It broke market structure. It is now creating higher highs and higher lows. So if I go here, make this our zone, now you can identify your buys from that range. So AUD/JPY buys too. Not now. Not for anybody who's like, I'm buying it right now. No, please don't. Because somebody was like, GJ, buy, sell now. Like, no. We're not doing immediate trades, especially on a Monday. Monday is very, I would say, the lack of volatility is always there. And the opportunities, there are going to be trade opportunities on Mondays, without a doubt. But you always want to allow Sundays and Mondays to really let the market develop. So that way you get a true sense of what your next move is going to be. Because I know a lot of people probably yesterday were probably looking at this level of structure and like, oh shit, it's time to sell, and didn't allow this market to really develop a little bit more to give us a true idea. So for me right now, same thing. Same thing. We'll go back to GJ. Look at AJ right now, right? Look at how this is marked up. Not touching anything. Look at how that's marked up. Now when we go back to GJ, look at how that's marked up. Right? There's not much of a difference. Obviously, there's going to be some differences, but there's more similar attributes and characteristics of each market than differences. Again, we're looking for buys on GJ. We have basically the same markup here with AUDJPY. So what I would do is allow this market to develop a little bit more. I'm actually going to go, I'm just looking at each time frame to know where I'm going to be placing my fib ratio at. My fib ratio is going to go from these lows here to these highs. Now, if you're wondering, Jay, why wouldn't you put it all the way down here? Because I don't know why I still see people do this shit. It's so annoying. People will go from here, from these lows to these highs, and expect that to be the right correction, not knowing that you're basically trying to measure all of these small moves individually. You can't just go back and say, well, I'm going to go from these lows. No. You need to measure each impulse and correction as its own individual. If you're not, then your fib ratios are fucked. They're not going anywhere. So what we can do is correct that. We're identifying this impulsive move from this low to these highs. That is an impulse, and now it is starting to correct, retrace, pull back, however you want to call it. You see how there's always so many different ways of naming these things. But we're having a correction back down to this level of structure. And you can also see here within that level of structure, we have a fib ratio. Now, I do not, and I repeat, I do not focus on only one fib ratio, i.e. that's 618. I know a lot of people are like, oh, 618, that's time to buy and sell. No, each fib ratio is just as important as the next. It's the reason why I don't focus on each ratio or one ratio is due to that fact. You can't just place your trade off of a fib ratio. Other things need to come into conjunction. You have to have further confluence, such as a trend line. Is there structure there? Are your candles also respecting that area? Because if not, then you're probably not going to want to place your entry off of that. So give me 1 second. Ooh, my bad, guys. I had to sneeze. I didn't want to sneeze in everybody's ear. But right now it's the same thing. With since we looked at GJ, it's the same thing here with AJ. We're going to use this as our buy kill zone. So I'm understanding this, the simple fact, again, off the higher time frame, because a lot of people, again, are not using the higher time frames. We have a double bottom. That's important. We have to go to the higher time frame to see that, because that's such a strong pattern on a high time frame. That could dictate a potential reversal. We're actually going to go ahead and draw this trend line. We'll add that there as well for AJ. So now we're having a lot of confluence, right? Even though that trend line is currently being respected, I mean, rightfully so. It broke out of a level of structure. It's respecting that trend line, and it's going to make another attempt. It's like, okay, I don't have the energy right now because I wasted all of my energy breaking out of this structure. Let me go ahead and take a break, a breather from these highs and come back to the lows. It's like if anybody, I don't know if you guys were rambunctious kids, but I used to live in the projects, right? Just real talk. When I was younger, I lived in the projects, and there was times where the elevator didn't work or the stairs were probably the safer option. And I lived on the 17th floor at one point, right? So imagine as a kid, you go from the first floor and you running full speed up 5 flights of stairs. You're going to get tired. You're going to get out of breath. That's what the market is doing, right? I just ran up 5 flights of stairs and I'm on the 5th floor. I need a break, and I'm going to take my break and just to catch my breath so that way I can run another 5 flights. That's exactly what the market is doing. It is reacting off the fact that, okay, we have this daily trend line. I'm going to respect it because I have no more energy to break above or go up another flight of stairs. But let me go ahead and take a break. That's what the market is doing. That break is called your correction. It's going to come back down to this level of structure, hopefully, because we know the market is not perfect. But if it comes back to this level of structure and we start to see respect, that means that the market has now got its breath back to now continue to the upside. So right now, we're looking at AUD/JPY, buy kill zone at this level of structure based off the analysis that we currently have. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me see real quick. Nice. We'll add you in my black book of Furus. A can short. Thanks for the opportunity. Furu? Damn, man, you got disrespectful like that. I never said I was a guru anyway. I'm just trying to help you guys, but that's cool. Volume is low. Got it. I can hear you loud and clear. Got it. Okay. Everyone in this room, trust me, want to make money. Short everything this guy says. You will bank money. My hedge fund legit started doing this like horse betting. This is all BS. All that matters in the markets is traded value. All right. NQ Future Scalper. I appreciate it because you're helping the algorithm anyway. And I know damn well your hedge fund is not scalping because I don't scalp. So whatever you're saying is, I guess, invalid because if your hedge fund is using my trades as a scalping tool, that's terrible. So that's cool. I appreciate it though. Keep commenting. That's cool. You're helping the algorithm either way. But yeah, so this will be consider my buy kill zone for AUD/JPY. That's hilarious. I love it. I really do. All right, let me go ahead and take a look at Gbp USD. Okay. I'm just taking a look. So what I'm looking at with GU is I wanted to see if we had the momentum to come back up to here, because that being a strong level of structure, and it could end up giving us a nice head and shoulders pattern, right? Again, with any head and shoulders pattern, I always want to at least allow the right shoulder to come back to the left shoulder price so that way I could identify some potential entries. Because right now, if we look left, we're not really going to have too much structure. We actually already broke above that for the most part. So for at least GU, I would at least allow this to come back up here for it to give us our next potential sell. So I'll put this. Potential right shoulder for sells. And it does seem as if this is correcting. So, So this actually would be considered a double top because it didn't break above the high or the extreme highs. As you can see here, the wick did break above, or not break above, but it did go above the initial highs. But the candle here, the candle close, did not break above these highs. So this could be considered a double top. And if that's the case, I mean, there could be a correction from these highs, at least back down here, before it wants to continue up higher. So I might take a look at that here in a second, because if there are sells, if there are sells from this point, I'm going to look for that to trade that with you guys here live. And let me see. Jay, I appreciate you, man. I've learned so much from you. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. You're on point with the markups. I appreciate it. Yeah, I just try to keep everything very simple. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, I'm keeping it simple now just for the education aspect. But when it's actually time to dig deep, go into an entry, there's a lot more that goes into it. Obviously, you got to let the candles play out. You got to really make sure that everything is, matching your analysis. But when I mark up my charts, I'm just trying to identify what's relevant, right? I want to make sure that what I'm looking at is in fact true. So I'm just trying to mark up my charts in a sense. Like, if we go back to GJ, when it's time for me to enter, there's probably going to be a little bit more done as far as the markup is concerned. I'll probably, make this a little bit cleaner. If it does respect, I'm just using this as a perfect example. Let's say it does respect that 61.8, then I'll go ahead and make my structure a little bit tighter. There are some things that I will do to adjust and make sure that, my entries are pristine. But as far as the markup goes, you're only marking up a chart to find an entry, right? You're not marking up a chart for fun. You want to make sure that you're marking up to understand where the next move is going to be. So for me, this is it. You don't have to have a lot on your chart in order to be profitable or to act like you know what you're doing. A lot of people always say, Jay, there's not a lot on your chart. You know what yes, because what is the market always doing? It's respecting price. And at that price, there's forms of confluence that'll tell you what's needed in order to confirm your idea. And that's those candlestick patterns, your fib ratios, and your trend lines. Let me see what we have in the chat real quick. I've been following you on Facebook for a while. I mark up the same way. Beautiful. You know what I mean? So you know exactly what you're doing in a sense, right? Because if you're marking up almost identical to me, you already know what you're doing. And I'm not saying that to sound like I'm a guru, like my man said, but it definitely means that you're on the right track, because I've been doing this, literally been trading the same way since day one, and I didn't know that I was already like good at it. It's the psychology aspect that I need to fix at the beginning. And if you can fix that, like, you're good. If you have the psychology aspect down as far as trading is concerned, you're solid. And let me see real quick. Can we look at SP 500? These markets, man. SPX 500. I have no idea why everybody's so infatuated with these markets. I know they pay a lot, but if you have no idea what you're doing, you're going to lose a lot. But you're looking at buys based off of that level of structure. That's it. You know what I mean? And the reason being is because this was an arranging market and it broke out of that range. It's buying. Simple. Simple. We're not overcomplicating anything with our trading here, right? We have a ranging market. It broke out of that range. You're looking for buys. That's it. We scale out to a higher time frame. Not really much there because this market's been kind of choppy. But not really, not really much. Like, I'll identify that, but I mean, yeah, that's actually valid. I would say that's pretty much valid, because this was a level of resistance, broke above, kind of respected that zone. Again, this is the entire zone, but as you see, I don't like my markers being that crazy, or my markups. And we can just cheat a little bit because we know where the market has been respected. We use that as our structure. Strong support. Scale out to a higher or a lower time frame, rather 1 hour. We can see that the market was ranging. Actually, I'll go to the 2 hour. Oh, I'll make this a little bit cleaner. We're cheating now a little bit because we know where the market really respected. Again, I just don't like my zones that big, so I know that I'm missing a piece over here, but I'm taking that into consideration as I look. And we broke out of a range, so those buys are confirmed. Broke range to the upside, confirming buys. That's it. There's your markup. There's really nothing complicated within trading if you try to make it easy. If you try to make it like rocket science, and yeah, that'll be hard, because again, like I've showed you guys before, there's tools, there's things you could do that make trading very difficult. Like, look at that. I don't even know what half these things are, to be completely honest. You got fib time zones. Like, there's so much within trading that you could make this extremely difficult, or you can make it very common sense. Broke above that range. If you have a break above resistance, that resistance becomes what? Support. So now we take this strong support and we put it right here. Because if the market does this, we could then look for entries. Now, if you're looking at this and I'm saying, oh, SPX 500 buys, and you're buying it right now, you're probably not going to make money, because we have to allow this market to do what? Correct. Anytime you have a strong impulsive move, whether it's bullish or bearish, you have to allow that market to then correct. Right now, we're going to allow this market to correct. And this will be your strong support. Oop, wrong thing. Strong support equals buys. That's it. Make trading easy again. There we go. Strong support equals buys. If this market can correct back down to that level of structure, that's exactly what you should be doing. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that helps. One thing about you, you post losers and winners, and you tell the truth to people. I definitely do, man. There's no way to, yo, bro, there's no way anybody can hide away from this shit. You know what I mean? Like, right now, if I'm teaching, if I'm educating, somebody right now who knows what they're doing will call me out. They'll be like, this dude don't know what he's doing. Don't listen to him. But I will always make sure that I let you guys know where I'm wrong. You know what I mean? If I mark something up wrong, if I'm looking at something even on a live call with you guys, the first thing I'm going to do is understand that a lot of people are here to learn. And I don't want to give false information, because if they say, where do you get the info from? And they say me, they're going to be like, yo, don't listen to that guy. So I got to make sure I know, one, that I know what I'm talking about, and two, that I'm transparent with everything. Because all this shit, everything within trading could just easily be, you know what I mean, found out and exposed if you wanted to. Like, anybody could do it. If anybody wanted to take the time out and try to do that to me, that's fine. Go ahead. You know what I mean? You're going to waste your time. But at the same time, it's very, if you're not transparent with everything that you do within trading, not only will you be called out, but nobody's going to listen to you. And that's why I always try to stay as transparent as possible. Like, for instance, November, December for an auto trader, atrocious. It was so bad that I had to go, because I had made an EA that was trading for us, to the point where I had to go and hire 2 other traders to make sure that my students are getting the most amount of value and profits. I'm never going to shy away from my mistakes. So it's always important that you stay transparent with everything that you do, especially with trading. Because if you don't, you know how many companies, not even people, companies that got shut down? If all those companies got shut down and I'm still here, that says a lot. You know what I mean? Let me see. Where would you put your stop loss? Well, it really depends. I can't really give you an idea of where my stop loss will be because there's no entry on it. You know what I mean? In a perfect world, if I was to go ahead and place this trade, because I'm not placing a trade right now, let's say if I did, again, it all depends on the entry. Let's say in a perfect world, I mean, my stop loss by doctrine would be right down there because I know how SPX 500 is. This is a very volatile market. I'm not going to have a 50 pip stop loss on this. This is not the case. So my stop loss will be a little bit lower. But yeah, it really all depends on the initial entry. Because let's say it comes back down to this level and doesn't buy, then there is no stop loss because there is no entry on the buy. So it all determines on, that's where you'll have to learn how to develop and really identify what's needed next. If you are looking to enter, in most cases, you would want to place your stop loss right below the previous lows, but not in this market. That's the last thing you want to do in this market. So if in fact this does start to buy and I put it in the Discord, I'll let you know where your stop losses should be. But no entry on that, no stop losses, no take profits yet. That's just the analysis. If in fact we'll do the strong support equals buys, I'll just change that to buy kill zone. Now, that does not mean that once you get to this point, you start immediately buying at all. We have to allow the market to get there and then truly develop into what we're looking at, like the idea that we're looking at. We're looking at buys. We have to allow this market to get there and really develop and show us that it does, in fact, want to buy. So no entries, no stop losses, none of that as of yet. Gold. I just did gold. Where would you put your stop? You said all those other companies would shut down and lie to people, and they did. Oh, trust me, I know. What a lot of people don't understand is, like, if you have to have a downline in order to make money trading, you're not making money trading. I don't have a downline, right? I have a business, yes, I do have a company, but at the same time, it's like I was making money before I even made the decision to make that. And the only reason why I did it is because like 5 people wanted help, and I said, you know what? If they're going to pay me, I'll charge them, fine. And then 5 turned into almost 2,000. So yeah, I accidentally made a company. But yeah, I mean, oh, no problem. Never a problem. Work less and earn more. But yeah, that'll be your idea for your buy kill zone. And if I do go ahead and look for entries on this, I'll make sure that I put the entry and the analysis in the Discord. I will like to start sharing at least one signal a day with you guys, as well as these sessions. Because I'll actually just show you guys real quick. So in my Discord here, and I do follow like other good traders as well. She's actually really good. Official Lens, she's really, really good. So what you can see here is like I have all like my students and everything. But what I like to do is, because I have this thing called big lot signals where I'm sending my trades, my personal trades out to students. And the purpose is so that way they could place really large lot sizes. Like you can see here, our entry is pretty much perfect here on EuroCAD. I would like to start giving you those at least one of these trades a day as well. If I only give my students one trade a day off of this, you guys won't, because I got to make sure that they get the most amount of value. But if I'm looking at 4 or 5 setups and I'm giving them all 4 or 5, I'd like to go ahead and share with you guys. And you can even see here, if I'm correct, I put a trade out for you guys previously for GU. I don't know where it went, but somewhere around here. There it is. So I'd like to go ahead and give you guys more signals as well. So if you guys want, go ahead, join the Discord. The link is in the description below, and you guys will be able to stay on top of all of our analysis and all signals that I will like to share with you guys. So by all means, go ahead, join the Discord, because if I do see a nice trade, whether it's here on SPX 500, whether it's here on Gbpjpy, or whether it's here on AUDJPY, I want to go ahead and share that with you guys as well, so that way you guys get some value. So yeah, hopefully that helps. All right. So any more questions? Any more markets you guys want to take a look at? I am here for you guys. Let me know, and I'm definitely here to assist and help. But yeah, anything else you guys got? Let me go ahead and see if USD CAD. See what USD CAD's doing. Ah, okay. This market was choppy for a bit. Not choppy. It was actually really good. It worked off the price very, very well. but we might actually have the same concept here now. Now, I know I'm on a small time frame right now, or rather the 4 hours, not really a small time frame, but it's just because I understand the overall market, in a sense, is like very, I wouldn't say ranging, but it kind of broke out of that little choppiness that it was in before. But I want to see what this market's currently doing at structure points. As you see, I'm not using any indicators. I'm literally cheating. I am a furu. I'm cheating right now because I know where the market is currently respected. A lot of people are like, but my zone's down here. Yeah, there's a zone down there. But the current market, the furu, right here. I'm actually going to change my name to Furu. I genuinely appreciate him calling me that because that's a dope ass name. I hope I can start earning with you so I can join your Discord. You could join the Discord right now. It's I have a free section for the Discord. If you go to the description below, you'll be able to join our legacy chat. You'll be able to see our analysis, updates, and profits, announcements. You'll be able to see all of that. So you can still join the Discord. There's still a lot of value in that Discord that'll be placed for you guys. So you're more than welcome. But yeah, I'm cheating. My furu-ness right now is cheating. I'm identifying that this level of structure right now is going to be our relevant level of structure for right now. And to see if this will start buying. Now, if that's not the case, my next buy zone will be down here. Not too much markup on this chart, only because like I'm not going to go ahead and start caring about what's going on over here and all what happened all the way over here is not making me money today. So I want to but I want to focus on what can make me money today. So right now, what I can see is I'm not going to care about that resistance, not yet at least. I won't care about this resistance as well, not yet, right? Because we do start to buy, then I'll start making this level of structure up here relevant. Because why? This could end up being a level of take profit, or if it's broken, it could then end up being a re-entry to the upside. So I'm just taking a look at USD CAD because there was I was hoping that it was a little bit lower, to be honest, so that way we could have bought from down here. So we'll put this aggressive buy entry. No entry on this yet, guys. Please do not buy this yet. This is just me identifying a potential range for a buy. There is no confirmations for that buy as of yet. The 4-hour candle right now is nice though. I do like this bullish engulfing candle, i.e. Morningstar candle patterns starting. And we're going to put conservative buy. Or I would say prime buy, because that's probably the best area. But even though this is considered, or I'm considering this my prime buy area, I'm going to put area real quick, or entry rather. It doesn't necessarily mean, what? I don't know what happened down here. So even though this is not considered my prime buy up here, this could still very much be considered an entry if in fact we start getting confirmations to the upside from there. Furu sounds good. It does, right? Furu. I'm not gonna lie, I've never heard that, like Furu. I'm actually happy he called me that. That's actually pretty dope. Let me see real quick. In your opinion, is it more practical to focus on one pair? So I'm gonna give you the professional answer, and I'm gonna give you my answer. The professional answer is yes. If you are learning how to trade for the first time, you should focus on one pair so that way you don't get confused. Here's my real answer. Fuck that shit. Why would you only focus on one pair when all of them could pay your bills? Right? It makes no sense. I know a lot, and it's great. If somebody can master one pair, that's cool. But what you do on one pair, you could do on everything else. I could do this on Bitcoin. I could do this on an option. I could do this on a stock. Everything we do here can be implemented on every other market. So why focus on one pair when that one pair may not have an entry all goddamn week? Look at other pairs. That's my answer. Furu does sound good. Y'all can make your subscription within days. Don't wait, I promise. I appreciate you, Braxton. I appreciate that shout out, man. But no, I mean the value that's coming from these sessions, and this is why I'm doing it. With everybody live, and obviously, you know, with the students, I'm making them the profits that comes with the education that comes from here. It's really important that, you know, with these sessions that you guys still make profits. Even if I'm not giving you guys the trades, I'm giving you guys literally the knowledge. You know what I mean? I'm making you the food. I'm fucking spoon feeding you. I'm doing the dishes. You know what I mean? I'm tucking you in. I'm giving you all the answers to the test. So a lot of money, a lot of value, a lot of profits could be made just off of these sessions alone. Because what I'm doing is I'm marking up these charts in a manner that's going to help me, guess what? Place these trades as signals for my students and these trades for our auto trader. Everything I'm doing here is so important because it's literally going to reflect into my account, into my student's account, and I'm hoping that it reflects into your accounts as well. At least not just the knowledge. Obviously, I know you guys want, knowledge and everything, but I want you guys to make money too. So everything we're doing here is very much valid into my everyday trading. What I'm doing right now is I'm going over things so that way if there is a trade set up, I can go ahead and place that in our auto trader and send it as a signal for you guys. So a lot of money will be made off of these sessions, even if you're not a part of the VIP Discord. You're absolutely fine on that. Sean Carter. Hit me up after that. I just want to educate. I don't want to talk about the VIP group, whatever. I want to make sure that you guys are just learning and focusing on this. Don't worry. If you want, you can hit me up after this on Facebook, Discord. If you want, actually join the Discord, send me a message, and I got you, brother. I say the same thing about looking at all the pairs. Yeah, no, it's the truth though, right? And then Randy, I know you're laughing, but it's the truth, Randy. You never want to just focus on one pair and then that's it, because you're going to end up you'll focus on, let's say right now, USD CAD, you're like, okay, aggressive buy or my prime buy. I'll wait. And then you're missing, let's just say, because I already have it marked up. Let's just say you're so focused on USD CAD and you don't see an opportunity that's setting up here on GJ. Right? So as you wait for USD CAD to develop, you can go ahead and make money somewhere else. If you're focused on one pair, you're not taking advantage of what the market is trying to offer. It always leaves clues so that way we can pick those clues up and use them to our advantage. So focusing on one pair, not the best. Unless you're really trying to learn, which is fine. You could use one pair to understand the market structure, what it looks like to break a structure, how to use your fibs. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, focusing on one pair, try to do a little bit more. GA sells possibly. I don't know, Isaiah. You tell me. I'm not here to sells. Where do you see sells at, my mans? Where do you see sells? Again, understand the entire market. Go on to the higher time frames. I know I'm sounding repetitive, but the reason I'm not even going to mark it up. I want you to see why there's no sells on this as of yet. With no markup. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys can see it, especially with how I mark up my charts and how I trade a little bit. But what do you see? Because I don't see any sells. I mean, it's in a seller's market currently, overall from these highs here to these lows. But just to give you guys a hint, why is there no buys or no sells rather? Pay attention to the overall market, Isaiah. GA sells possibly. You can't sell at a low point, my man. That's the biggest no-no. You sell high. You don't sell low. All right, GU was one of my favorite pairs, and it consolidated a bit, so I had to go to another pair. Yeah, there was a few pairs that not even a few. They all did. We just came back out of the holidays, so the lack of volatility during the holidays, I mean, the market should have been even closed at some of those days. But yeah, the lack of volatility on those markets were pretty common. You're going to see that during that time. And the consolidated factor, the consolidation that it gave, it kind of broke out of already. So we go back to GU, you can see that it's pretty much got the volatility, is now broken out of that small little range. Not even a range, I would say more like consolidation, because this is more consolidation right here. We can see that the volatility is now picked up, broken out of that area. So it really is giving us a strong idea. But yeah, I might actually, let me go back. I really want to sell this, to be honest. I'm looking at this as a double top. I want to see how this candle closes. What time is it? 9:33. All right, so I want to see how this candle closes, because right now we are getting respect from this point. If we start to see more respect at this point, I'm going to look for sells, a small sell, nothing too crazy, from here to at least here. But I'm not doing that yet. I'm allowing this candle to develop, close, show me some rejection, show me that this point can't be broken, and if that's the case, I'll go ahead and look for sells with you guys. Support, exactly, Braxton. They waited on NFP too. I see support on GA. Yep, Randy, you got that. And I know I'm like way ahead, but there is a delay on the stream. So if it doesn't seem like I'm not answering you guys, it's just because for some reason, I'm like 15 seconds ahead of you guys. So everything you hear is a little bit late. So I do apologize on that. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Sean. They did wait for NFP too, because the beginning of every month, the first Friday, usually being the 7th, not always the 7th, sometimes like the 5th and the 6th. there is NFP, and that week was very choppy because the volatility wasn't there because they were actually waiting for NFP as well. So good observation. And Randy, we'll go back to GBP AUD real quick. But yeah, so again, who was that? Isaiah, if I'm correct. Isaiah, again, my mans, you got to understand that where would you look for the sell, right? Where would there be a sell? If anything, I'd mark this up like this. If you're looking at this based off of the retest of that structure, it's not completed. It's broken above, right? You are looking at a double bottom right there, which is a buying indication. Market came down, respected this structure. This market came back down, respected that structure. Could not break below the lowest point. You have a double bottom. I'm going to make my zone this big for right now. This is not a sell. If you're looking at it because it's a break and a retest, look left to get right. That is extremely important. Everybody, that is extremely important. Because if you're looking at this as a sell, not respecting or identifying the fact that a low was respected, a support range was respected, a market pattern, a reversal pattern at that is respected, you are not jumping up to the higher time frames and saying, well, okay, we are very much at a level of support, and you're only using the 5-15-minute time frame to identify your entries, you're wrong. And I'm not saying that to sound disrespectful. I'm saying that because nobody else is going to tell you, and you're just going to continue to make those mistakes if nobody does, right? I wish somebody took the time out of their day every single day to tell me these things and help me help educate me to know my mistakes as well. This is a mistake if you're looking to sell from a low point. You're not selling at a support range. You are buying at a support range, especially with how these candles are currently looking. Look at these candles. Does that look like a bullish, or I'm sorry, does that look like a bearish candle? No. Not at all. That looks like a rejective candle, an exhausted wick to, or an exhausted candle with a wick to the downside. Wicks equal rejection. Let me write that down for you guys. That is extremely important. Wicks equal rejection. Especially, guess what? At a level of price. Price action. We are at a level of price being support. What is the actions? The wicks, the candles, the exhaustion of this body of the candle as well. The wicks to the downside showing that sellers were trying to break through, but the wick coming right back up showing that sellers got rejected. They can't break through. So no sells when you're literally at a low point, at a support zone. So be very careful with that, guys. You are not selling at lows. You are not buying at highs unless the market deems so. I know a lot of people trade breakouts. That's fine. You could trade breakouts, right? Let's say it does come and break below that point. Then I would say you could sell, right? Because now you're getting confirmations that this is no longer support and sellers are in fact taking over, right? Then you could possibly trade that breakout or the retest of that structure. But we're not getting that clue. The market is not leaving that clue behind for us. So definitely no sells on this as of yet. So be very careful with GBP AUD. Let me go ahead and take a look at GJ real quick. I just want to see, because if there is a entry for us, I want to make sure that we can get into that on this session. So nothing yet. Let me go back to AUD JPY. Nothing yet. Let me go to Euro USD. I'm just checking. There we go. So what I want to see is some rejection in the zone. So before, or not before, with oh yeah, the candle did just close. So before, let me go ahead and find my, there we go. So I was looking at this candle. I wanted to see what this next candle would do as it opened, and how it closes, and how the next few candles develop based off the 1 hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour time frame. I know you're like, really? You're going to wait that long? Yes, because patience pays within trading. If you're just jumping into trades, buy, sell now, what is it doing? You're never going to make money. But we allow this to develop. We allow it to really do its thing. We'll be able to identify the next move. So right now, if you guys are on Euro USD, I would mark it up in a manner where you're looking at this as your level of resistance, so that way you can start to look for sells. But it doesn't mean we're selling now. We're just identifying this for the next potential move. But yeah, let me see. And I appreciate you guys in the comments too, asking questions and everything. I love that. Let me go back. Let me see gold really fast. Yeah, not doing anything. It's just kind of stuck there. All right. I'm just going through, seeing if there is anything else that I can, see and speak on. Any other charts and markets that we could possibly even trade, but I don't see anything as of yet. I'm just going to leave this zone right here for now. And that's it. That's my entire markup right now on gold. I know you're probably like, really? Yes. There's not much else you can do with this, right? I mean, there's probably a lot more, but for me personally, I don't really have to do much, because what I would now identify being at this daily level of structure, I would now only wait for the smaller time frames to really determine whether the structure is going to be respected. I don't need a fib. There's no trend line. Like, I'm not going to put a trend line from here and here. That's redundant. You never want your trend line even that close like that, because it can be easily broken like that. So nothing else, at least for gold, concerning me. Let me see. Respecting 618, inverted head shoulder for UJ. Yeah. Inverted head and shoulders 618. Yeah, you got it. If you know what you, so this is my thing, Brax. Don't tell me. Execute. And I'm not saying that to sound disrespectful. If you know what you're looking at, if you can see a spade, call it a spade. Trade. Execute. I know what you're doing, and it's good. Don't get me wrong. I know you want that confidence. You want that extra look. But if you can see it, right? If you was in a room with 100 people and your best friend, you're not going to notice anybody else's face but your best friend's, because you know it. It's very familiar. Execute, Brax. Become a millionaire. How would I fib Euro USD properly? Give me a time frame. Give me, well, right now there wouldn't be a fib. There would not be a fib. You don't use Fibonacci's in a ranging market. Point blank simple. So you don't fib Euro USD. You would fib Euro USD if this level of resistance is broken. If it's broken to the upside, you would simply fib the normal way. Swing low, swing high. But in a ranging market, you do not use your fibs. If you use your fibs, if you see anybody, unless they're doing harmonic patterns such as this, if they're marking up a harmonic pattern, then that's valid to use your fibs. But if you're using your fib like this in a ranging market, you're wrong. Absolutely wrong. A fib is only used in a trending market, not a range. Because where would you put your fib anywhere over here? You can't, right? So to answer your question, you don't fib Euro USD right now, unless it breaks above or below one of these levels of structure. That is it. See how easy trading could be? This is your entire markup for Euro USD. At least for like, I try to identify an entry, try to identify some profits. Obviously, there's a lot more. You can go into, you could do all, a lot of people could do all this shit. If you want to go ahead, mark your trend line here and look at that, like that's cool. But none of this shit's going to make you money right now, right? Like if I look at this, like, oh, okay, okay, it broke above. I can see that. I don't have to mark it up. You know what I mean? You only want to focus on what is relevant. Right now, this is relevant. We're in a ranging market. We're waiting for either the buys to commence, being the breakout to the upside, or the sells to start from this level of resistance to reach these lows. That's it. Nothing complicated. Keep trading. Very simple. Great advice. It's the hardest thing to do. Execute. It is, and that's exactly. Trust me, because Braxton's one of my students, so I want to make sure that he understands that, like, he knows exactly what he's doing. Now it's the psychology aspect, and I'm from New York City. I'm from the Bronx, right? Everything I say is going to sound disrespectful and rude, but by no means am I trying to be that. But it's always important that you understand that if you can call a spade, call it a fucking spade and make your money. If you know it's an inverted head and shoulders pattern, you know you're at a level of structure, you know you're at the 618, what else do you need? Execute. Make your money. Thanks, fan. No problem, Randy. Of course. I appreciate you for asking too, by the way. Because that's actually a really good question that I wanted to also mention that. That's a beautiful question that you asked, because I think not a lot of people even understand that concept. Because I still see, I would say, professional traders using fibs and ranging markets. I'm like, that is not good. Even if it works out for them, I'm just like, you got lucky, because that's the last thing you want to do is use a fib in a ranging market. So yeah, once we get a break above or below, then you'll be able to use it. Like in this case, in a bullish market, or a trending market rather, if I was to look at my fibs like anywhere here, I'll go like this. I'm just randomly choosing one like that, right? Because you can see that there was a higher high made and a higher low. So you want to be able to identify, okay, well, this impulse or this move impulse higher than these previous highs before, it's going to make a correction. Now I could use my fib. But if you're not getting any higher highs, higher lows, and you're in that ranging market, it's going to be very hard or almost impossible for you to actually make that trade. How far do you think Euro USD bull trap will go? There is no bull trap. And I can't ever tell you how far a market's going to go. If anybody's like, yes, it's going to go up 100 pips and drop 15, they're lying to you. I don't know how far Euro USD will go. It can go as far as it wants. I would say that the next level of structure would be here. I mean, that's definitely somewhere where I think it could go. If it does end up buying, and then if that's the case, it can go up even higher. But I can't ever sit back and say it's definitely going to. If somebody tells you that, just run, because they're fucking lying. So that's me being real. I can never say, and it's not a bull trap either. There's no such thing as traps. So the whole market maker method of they can see your stop loss, and they actually can't. They can't see your stop loss. I worked for a bank, to be honest. If nobody knew, I actually worked for a bank for a bit, mad long ago. And they do not see your accounts. They have way too much money to care about somebody's $100 account placing a 0.01. Just throwing it out there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but do you really think that if somebody has a $50 million account, they care about Joe Schmo's 50? No, they don't. So there's no such thing as a bull trap. There is a such thing as high volume where the market is obviously moving in a direction. Like, if you see it's buying, it's not a trap. The market's telling you it's buying. It's not a trap. It's showing you. How is that a trap if you can visually see it? You just need to identify where to buy from. That's it. You know what I mean? Everybody with smart money concepts, market maker method, order blocks, we're finding the liquidity where the banks aren't trading at specific spots where you don't know. Banks are trading in the same exact areas. You think that, you don't think a bank bought from this support zone? You really don't think that? If you don't think a bank bought from this support zone, you're crazy. But guess what? So did retail traders. Because it's right there. The clues are being left behind. The market isn't just, favoring banks and people with millions and trillions of dollars. If you identify what the market does, the patterns and how it moves, you're good. The banks are doing the same thing. Just being real. I like that attitude because most people are scared to execute. Yeah, I mean, don't get it twisted. I was definitely scared to execute as well. Like I said on one of my previous sessions, I blew at least 100 accounts. When I was in the Army and I first started learning how to trade, I don't think I ever placed a profitable trade for like the first month. It was so fucking bad. And then I started getting scared. I didn't execute. And that messed up my psychology. And then when I realized, like, if you're scared, you're not going to scared money don't make no money. So you have to execute, especially if you understand exactly what you're looking at. So yeah, definitely. I bought 10-4-8-9 Friday, wrote it up to 10-6, sold Friday, and Sunday impulse sold now in drawdown. Okay, cool. I'm glad. I'm happy. If you're making money, you're making money. Cool. But yeah, any other questions? Any other markets you guys want to take a look at? Feel free to let me know. I definitely got you guys. If not, we'll conclude for today only because I do have to actually run some errands and I got to make sure that I post these markups in the Discord for you guys and make sure that my students are okay. I also have to check on my traders to make sure that if there's any trades placed in our auto trader that we are in profits for the day as well. So what else you guys got? Any other questions? Any other markets you guys want to take a look at? Feel free to let me know. I'm just taking a quick recap so that way if there is any entries, we can go ahead and place some of those. But let me go do this. Oh, and if I have any students on right now, we will be trading binary this evening. I don't think we're going to be able to trade binary now because it's almost 10 and the payouts at this time are not, or by the time we get off here and get on a session, the payouts are not going to be that great. So I'm actually debating if we should change our binary sessions to the evening, only because I want to make sure that everybody's able to get onto those calls because we don't have too many people trading binary. But if you guys would like to trade binary in the evenings, by all means, feel free to let me know in the Discord. And that's for students. I can't trade binary here on YouTube because there is a huge delay. By the time we place our trade and our entries there, you're going to get that entry like 30 seconds late. So you guys would not be able to be profitable with that. But if you guys would like to trade binary in the evenings, let me know. I'm going to be trading binary regardless. Let me know. And I'll get the copy trade set up for the binary as well. So that way, if you can't make the sessions, you can still at least get the trades placed. What sort of investment is best to start with? Ooh, that's a good question. What sort of investment are you talking about? Like how much money you should drop down into account and trade with, or what your an investment in general should be? I think your best investment should be towards yourself. Give yourself enough knowledge and education so that way when you jump onto the charts, it's kind of like clockwork. You know exactly what you're doing. I don't think that if you're learning how to, if you're just starting to learn how to trade, you're just coming onto the markets, you have no idea how to mark up a chart, the last thing you want to do is throw money into an account. That's me being real. Anybody else would be like, oh, throw 500. No, by no means. I would definitely suggest you take that money, you invest into any type of courses, good courses. Don't just buy some fucking random shit. A real course. And I mean, even these sessions will be great. I mean, you don't even have to pay for these sessions at least. But I would definitely say invest into your actual education towards learning how to trade. Don't throw money into an account and just start trading if you don't know what you're doing. And that's not to sound disrespectful. That's me giving you real fucking advice, because if you go ahead and start losing your money, you're going to get deterred from trading. You're not going to want to trade again. You're going to think all you're going to do is lose money, and you're never going to pick trading back up. I almost did that, and I would have regretted it. I'd probably still be in the army, which would be so bad. If I didn't learn how to trade, I would definitely still be in the military right now, to be honest. So I would always be honest and say, don't put money into an account. Put money into yourself. Invest into your knowledge, invest into your education as far as trading is concerned. Get a good course, maybe some good books. I know there's a few podcasts. I personally don't follow any, but I know that some of my students do. So I'll try to get that information for you guys if you guys would like to, find a trading podcast based on Forex alone. But yeah, that's my best advice. That's me being extremely real. I think that you should just invest into the knowledge, the education aspect, instead of throwing money into an account and blindly losing money. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but again, if you don't know how to trade, the last thing you want to do right now is, in fact, trade. Learn before you start executing. But that's just my, is Naked Forex a good read? I never read it. I can't even tell you. I never read a book. I never watched a trading movie. I never did any of that, to be honest. I didn't even use a course. I bought Gbpjpy's course, I would say a few years, like 3 years ago, only because I wanted to understand like what a course should look like if in the event that I wanted to make one. But me and him, as you see, is literally trading the same way. But I learned off of YouTube, man. The same platform you guys are on right now is where I learned how to trade. Nobody taught me. Nobody sat down every morning like I am with you guys and answering questions. I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos and used common sense. The first thing I said was, my strategy I'm using is called price action. Why is that important? Break it down. Price. Okay. What is support and resistance? What is supply and demand? What is an order block? Price. What are the actions when the market reaches that point? That's the action. You identify the most relevant level of price, and then you identify the actions that proceed within them. If you get bearish actions at a resistance point, you sell. If you get bullish actions at a support zone, you buy. Common sense, very simple. Once I understood that, then I started adding the confluence, being the fibs. How do I use my fibs properly? Okay, got it. How do I use my trend line properly? Okay, 3 touches, then it's valid. Got it. And I just put everything together. It's all common sense, nothing difficult whatsoever. So your best investment is towards yourself and the knowledge that you need in order to become profitable within the markets. Do not throw money blindly into an account and lose it. That is my personal opinion. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, I never read that book, so unfortunately I can't give you my opinion. If anyone here has read that book and is good, let my mans know, just so that way he could read it. Ooh, we did break above. Okay, so this is exactly why you always allow the market to develop and really show you what it wants to do. So no sells on GU. Probably no sells on EU either. Probably, no, definitely not. We'll wait for it to get to that point up there. But yeah. Questions, comments, any other charts you guys want to take a look at, feel free to let me know. What? There we go. All right. I'm just taking a quick look at some things so that way if there is some trades, we can go ahead and place those. Seems like everybody's good so far. All right, so what we'll do is we'll conclude for today. I do have to run some errands and I gotta make sure my students are good. If you did, in fact, get any value, any type of knowledge, do me a favor, please like this. I wanna make sure that we're impacting people's lives in a positive manner, really giving back to this trading community, and I wanna help people actually learn how to trade as I'm making my students as much money as possible. You know what I mean? Like, it's very important that my students make money. It's very important that you guys get educated. So yeah. If you guys can, please, by all means, like this video, leave some comments. It'll be great. I definitely want to grow this channel based off of consistency, transparency, and actual value. So that way we can have hundreds and thousands of people here asking questions and really sharing as much knowledge as possible. I think the more eyes that we have on the charts together, the more money that will be made. I think if we are able to grow a community where everybody is looking out for each other, really identifying the best opportunities within the market, there's no way in hell that anybody in the legacy community will ever go broke again. I want to make sure that everybody's like really on top of being on profit. So definitely appreciate you guys. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Work Less and Earn More. I appreciate my mans for calling me Fufu or Furu, right? Furu. I was like Fufu. Yes, I'm actually going to use that word now, Furu. I like that shit. I don't care. I don't find any disrespect in that. I got money in my bank, so you can disrespect all you want, baby. My bills is paid. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. For my legacy students, if you guys are on, we'll be trading binary later tonight. So I definitely will send that Zoom link out for you guys. If anybody has any questions, feel free to hit me up at any point on Discord, Facebook, Instagram, smoke signal, carrier pigeon, message in a bottle. Does not matter. I'm here. I definitely got you guys, whatever you guys need. But yeah, appreciate you. Have an amazing day. Again, if there's anything else you guys need, feel free to let me know. And I definitely got you guys. So appreciate you guys. Have an amazing day. I'll see you guys on the next.